My guys, January 16th trade and market review session. So this looks like a cluster, let's be real. But there was a method to the madness. I'm gonna go ahead and go to this clean chart that I made, break it down from the start of the session and what I was looking for, and then why I took the trades I did. My rule is I only take 5 trades in a session, that's max. Today I did break that rule, I took 6. And funny enough, there was actually an A++ setup right after I stopped trading that I'll point out to you guys as well. Sometimes when the setups are there, when there's really good scalp opportunities or just good setups in general, a part of being a trader is, yes, you have to follow your rules, but also you get to a point where there is a little bit of malleability. It's all about knowing yourself, knowing how you're doing emotionally. For myself, I wasn't on tilt. I was very calm. I was patient. So I allowed myself to take one more trade. If that would have been a losing trade, I would have stopped for the day, right? I actually trail my max profit as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in, right? We had CPI data yesterday. We broke market structure on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. So going into today, we actually gapped up a little bit, right? If I go to regular trading hours, you can see we gapped up about 60 points to the upside here, and we had an hourly level at 507, right? So we actually opened underneath the hourly level, which was ideal because that way we could retest and see if we can get back over this hourly level to then go test pre-market highs and London highs up here around 567. Or if we fail to get back over that level, we could take it down towards this lower level around 441, and then these London lows and pre-market lows down towards 352. So let's zoom into the 5-minute time frame here, and then I'll go through my executions. Right, we opened up right here, so right underneath the hourly level, and we pretty much sold off right away. I'm gonna flip charts here and go to the 1 minute. Actually, let's go to the 2-minute time frame. I know there's a lot of stuff on here. I'll break it down for you guys though. So we opened up right here. We had this little 1 minute fair value gap, which doesn't really look like it matters, but it actually led into my first trade. And we had this 2 minute fair value gap here. So we sold off immediately. We got underneath the VWAP, and then we pushed back up into that fair value gap, which we were holding. So we basically inversed that, and then we rejected aggressively, which is where I took my first entry. Now, if I drop down to the 1 minute, I'll show you why that one up here mattered, right? We actually wicked all the way up to this 1 minute fair value gap here, rejected that, closed back underneath VWAP aggressively, and then on the 1 minute, we pushed up, held that 2 minute as well, and got back under VWAP. So once we pushed up the second time and we rejected and sold back off underneath VWAP, that is where I took my first entry. And on this trade, I did trim a very small amount here. I'll start adding what I took. So I took 5 M&Q here, boom, and then I sold literally just 2 right coming into this level just in case we bounced. So that was sold 2 M&Q right here. And then I held the last 3, which I got out full at these lows. All right, these weren't London lows, but they were pre-market lows that I was just watching. So got out there, full. All right, so that was trade number 1. So started off the day pretty strong on those. And then what happened? We swept liquidity, and then we started to rally a little bit. Now for this second trade, I just waited, right? Price came back down here. We got bought up aggressively again. I was tempted to maybe take a sell through this area, but I held off because of the hourly level. And then once we actually started closing underneath this low here, we got a 1, 2, 3 on the 1 minute, and we closed a 5-minute bar down here as well as a 2-minute bar down here. I did take a short on the break of these lows. All right, so I took my short. I had a little bit of a looser stop loss. If we were to break back over this area, I was gonna cut it. So added 5, and then at about 30 points down here, I sold 3. So I was only in 2 M&Q at that point, and then we rallied back up, but we were still unable to break structure to the upside. So I held my position, and then we consolidated up here, tried to push higher, and then once we started, I saw the rejection on the 2 minute. I did add 2 more M&Q right here for the next leg down. All right, at this point, the 5-minute EMA or 5-minute 90 EMA had caught up as well. So it was worth it to add 2. And then what I did was I trailed my stop loss over this area. So I trailed it from here, and I just trailed it over this candle right here. And then I was able to catch that next move down. My target was London lows down here. Sorry, that was actually right here. So my target was London lows right there, and that's where I sold full all 4 of the remaining contracts out right here. And then I actually took an inverse play. So we swept London lows, we put in an inverse fair value gap right here. So on the 1 minute, right, we got displacement, put in this fair value gap, we inverse that, and then once we pulled back to that fair value gap, I did take a long right here. All right, my stop was going to be if we obviously closed back underneath the fair value gap. It was a little bit of a riskier take, but right, we swept liquidity, we swept lows, we got bought up super aggressively, so it was something I was willing to do. And then I took full profit off at highs. It was a really quick hold. I only had to hold for literally like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So once I saw we were starting to bounce here, I got long right here, 5 MNQ. And then that one I didn't even trim. I just sold full at highs. So I'll go ahead and mark these up for you guys. These videos are going to be a little bit longer, especially on days like today where I took more trades. But that was that trade. I'll mark up this first trade for you guys as well. This one was up here. This one was here. All right, so that was trade 3. And then, like I said, I took a lot of scalps today, but the setups were good. We swept this liquidity up here. I waited, we came back up, rejected again. And then the 3rd time we came back up and rejected, I did take a short. Once this bar closed, we pushed up one more time. We took out that low. I got short right there. And that one, again, I did take off a little bit earlier, but I tried to take it off down towards this area down here, where I actually had London marked was right here. So I thought I was taking it out at lows. Lows were actually down here. It worked out in my favor because I wouldn't have been able to take profit there, but I took profit right about here on that move. No trims on that one either. So I'll draw that one. So that was here. And then this one was right here. So I got short here. Stop was above the high of this wick. And then the target was down towards lows right there, and this fair value gap. And then I waited, because then at this point we were just in a complete range, right? We're just chopping around, wait. No A+ setups through here. Waited. And then once we swept these lows again, we got bought up super aggressively. I was like, okay, you know what? It's worth taking a stab back up to highs. I was waiting for kind of a manipulation play. If I go to the 2 minute, it looks like this. Right, we manipulated lower, consolidate, manipulated, got bought up super aggressively. It was worth a stab for me at the lower end of this range. So I took 3 MNQ because it was a little bit higher risk. So I took 3 MNQ on this one. I trimmed 2 right here, trimmed 2 at this yellow line right here, or yellow circle. And then I added 3 more right here. Once we held, right, I added 3 more right there. And then I was able to take profit off up towards highs and those previous lows I marked up. So I took profit off at these highs. I was really happy with that trade and the execution on that one. This one I had my stop underneath the lows here, underneath London lows right down there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the 5th trade, and then the last trade was right here. I'll go to the 1 minute. So the 5th trade, it came right here. We had this 2 minute imbalance that we put in once we broke structure, and we ripped all the way up and we fell straight down to it. Again, this one was also a little bit riskier, but I was deep in profit and I wanted to see if we were going to catch a bounce off of that. So we came back into this imbalance. I took it without really waiting even for the reaction. I was going to close out right down underneath this fair value gap right here, and I got an immediate bounce right off the imbalance on the 2 minute, the fair value gap right back up towards VWAP. And that was the last trade I took. All right, so that was here to VWAP, and the stop was underneath this 2 minute imbalance right there. Now, there were a few more setups. Like if I wanted to continue trading, another good setup could have been right on the 2 minute, right through here, right? We basically consolidated. We tried to get back over this level, and then we failed. Taking a position through here would have been valid, right? If you wanted to take something there with the stop over this high, you could have done that. And then targeted lows, that actually would have been an absolute banger. I didn't take it. My rules, was finished. You could target these previous lows, which was London lows from the session, or the low of day, which was down here. That would have been absolute killer trade, right? Maybe trim some at London lows here, and then sell the rest at low of day. That would have been absolute banger. You could even have held it all the way down to the hourly level, down through here, whatever your targets were for your game plan. That would have been a really good trade. And then the next trade would have been also an A+ reversal setup in my book as well. And that came right here. So we swept lows, swept low of day, right? We put in a fair value gap here. We inversed it. Once this candle closes, I would have gotten long through here, right? On this one, I probably would have had just a stop right back underneath the imbalance right through here. And then you could target this pivot right here for your trim or your full take profit. And then ultimately target up towards VWAP up through here in this area. So this could have been your main full target up here, and then the trim here. And that would have been just a stellar trade as well. But I wanted to just point this out because this is a trade I would normally take, especially because we swept low of day. We also sold off into the hourly and got bought up aggressively. So that would have been, let's see what that would have been. So say we entered there, stop underneath the inverse fair value gap, target up towards VWAP. Yeah, that would have been about a 7.5 R total after the first trim. The first trim is already a 5 R. Right, so that would have been a beautiful trade as well to take, and it played out really nicely. So those are my trades for the day. If you guys have any questions, I know it kind of looks really messy through here, but there was a reason why I took every single one of these trades that I did. And hell, I mean, if we took that one right here and this one, it would have been probably one of my best days all year. But let me know if you guys have any questions on the execution at all. Stay safe the rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday, and I'll see you guys to trade live on Monday. Peace. If you found this video helpful and you want to trade these exact setups live with me in real time in our trading academy, click the link in my description. You can do this completely free, no risk for 7 days. Check it out, see if you're a good fit. And in addition to all the live trading, you can join our weekly webinars. You can get your questions answered. You get to be a part of a kick-ass community, and you get to check out all of our really good trading and self-mastery resources. I hope to see you in there.